So this episode, we're obviously going to be talking about the crazy events that happened at the World Economic Forum, and we got to talk about ICE per usual. Those are kind of just like, ICE is just like the thing right now. But I want to open up the show by talking with the World Economic Forum. We're talking about like Trump, a lot of the things he's done, a lot of the American empire like being in decay, a lot of ushering in the Chinese century.
Yeah, when we talk about the World Economic Forum, we've mentioned it. Longtime listeners know how we feel about the World Economic Forum. We've talked about it every once in a while. It's as close to like the quote unquote cabal as you can get.
Yeah, everybody pretends that they meet in secret, but here they are.
But yeah, except like it's not a secret, and they plan how they're going to make you poor out in front of everybody.
Yeah,
and that's what the World Economic Forum is.
I'm glad you said plan how they make you poor. And the reason I said we're going to talk about Trump later is because Trump's cronies are also at the World Economic Forum, specifically Scott Bessent. Now, Scott Bessent is a guy we don't talk about too often now because he was really more prominent and in the news when it was tariff on, tariff off, tariff on, tariff off, tariff on, tariff off.
Which it still is, actually.
Which now it's coming back in a big way. Tariffs are off again. Who would have fucking thought? But Scott Bessent has found himself in the news once again, not for tariff-related reasons, but just for his economic theory. This guy's a Treasury Secretary.
Treasury guy.
So what does he have to say about, say, corporate landlords? That's a big thing that Trump is talking about right now, is getting corporate landlords out, stopping big businesses like BlackRock from buying up entire neighborhoods, so you can't do that. But where does that leave the little guy?
Exactly.
These are the questions that Scott Bessent is asking, and I want to play you a clip of what he said at the World Economic Forum.
Going to give guidance at some point to see what is a mom and pop that someone, maybe your parents for their retirement, about 5, 10, 12 homes. So we don't want to push the mom and pops out. We just want to push everyone else out.
Yes, bro. 5, 10, maybe 12 homes for retirement. Me personally, I have 0 homes. Dear listener, how many homes do you have?
Guys, we're going to be combating corporate landlords, but we want to make sure that we don't push out the mom and pops with, 12 houses that they rent out.
We don't want to push out the little guy who owns your apartment building or who owns basically your entire neighborhood. What are we talking about? These people are so incredibly out of touch. They cannot be in charge of crafting policy that will actually help everyday Americans. The everyday American owns 0 home.
I think, no, exactly. And I just, anytime somebody talks about like mom and pop landlords, I think it's corny already.
Yeah.
Because it's like those people are, in some cases, the most evil landlords.
Exactly. And it's like if you have enough money to have 5, 10, maybe 12 homes saved up for retirement, I think you're a little more than just a mom and pop landlord.
Yeah,
I think
you're petty
just
bourgeois.
a real estate person.
Yeah, no, exactly. But that's what I was going to say is like anytime someone, talks about a family that like maybe owns 1 or 2 extra units and they rent them out so that they can collect some passive income, whatever, in retirement. I already think that's kind of corny, and people sort of valorize those people sort of without purpose. I don't think they earn that in any way. But then to say that like, we don't want to push out the people that own 10, 12 homes, they're the problem.
No, literally, like if you own like 10, 12 homes and you're renting them all out, you probably got a property manager. You're just a business at that point. You are not a mom and pop landlord. You are not just somebody who's doing this for a little extra income on the side, as corny as that is.
Yeah.
Like it's wild that you and me are staring down a future where it's going to be incredibly hard to actually be able to afford a home. Yeah. People our age own on average probably like 0 homes.
It's just not going to happen,
The median age for a home buyer shot up to like 44.
Yeah.
Recently or some shit like that.
I think last year or maybe 2024, whenever the stat came out, it was like the majority of homes purchased were like 55 and up.
Yeah, that's not me at 24 years old.
Motherfuckers like JD Vance are like, immigrants are going to buy up all the housing. No, bro, the old people are buying up all the housing.
55-year-old immigrants are not coming over here from goddamn Guatemala to get a job at being a day laborer at Home Depot to buy up a home in your HOA neighborhood. That's never been the case at all. These people are just lying to you. And then they go and they say that, oh yeah, regular people, they're having 10, 15, 20, 50, 40, fucking 5 million homes. Yeah. But as long as it's not BlackRock, it's okay. They're too out of touch. They should not be in charge of crafting policy. It's ridiculous.
Wasn't Trump just considering putting the BlackRock CEO as like the Fed chair board?
So
the Fed chair
awesome
guy?
Yes, he was.
That's awesome, dude. Man, that's crazy. It makes so much sense that Scott Bessent is the same guy that says, I'm a farmer when he owns farms.
Yeah.
He calls like Scott Bessent regularly calls himself a farmer.
Well, he probably calls himself a mom and pop farmer. It's just, I own a small farm where I hire 1 trillion workers to go do everything for me.
Yeah. I just own like the state of Wyoming or whatever, but it's no big thing, really. I'm a farmer.
No big deal.
Yeah. Oh my.
I'm just a mom and pop landlord who has fucking 35 tenants.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Scott Bessent reminds me of like what regular Republicans used to be.
Yeah.
Like, because he's like trying to pretend that the policies are good for everybody. Trump just says like, nah, fuck you guys. So
Yeah.
Scott Bessent at least tries to convince people.
Like Scott Bessent, like you don't say that, I think, unless you kind of believe that that's what like a mom and pop landlord is. And unless you believe that like there are regular people doing that because you're so out of touch. Because Scott Bessent is a billionaire, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Or at least like 100 millionaire.
Everyone in
something
Trump's
like
cabinet
that.
is rich as hell.
Exactly. Scott Bessent's got more money than God.
Yeah.
Right? This guy runs in social circles that you couldn't fathom.
Yeah, he owns farms.
He has no idea what life is like for anybody.
Yeah.
Most people, if you can have a house, have one house, and that's it. And it's not a retirement. In fact, the one house that old people who are retirement age have is often a burden because of rising property taxes that they can no longer afford because they live off Social Security. Their house isn't something that they're living off of. Their house isn't something that's a vehicle for retirement. Their house, in some ways, it's just the shelter over their head, and it's actually a financial burden.
Yeah. It's not great out here, guys.
Yeah, everything sucks so bad. And that's what the World Economic Forum really is, at least under Trump.
Welcome back to Head in the Office, everybody. Today is Thursday, January 22nd. We're bringing you HITO. We're bringing you World Economic Forum.
Yes, we
We're
are.
bringing you Greenland. We're bringing you everything.
We're bringing you Cabal News, number one Cabal podcast.
Number one Cabal podcast. We are doing propaganda. But before we get into that, as always, I'll just beg and plead with you. Become a patron.
Become a patron, guys, please. You know, we just talked about Scott Bessent wants me to have 5, 10, maybe 12 homes. We're trying to buy one home in cash.
Yeah, we're trying to get there.
We're trying
it's
to get
hard.
to the point where we can buy one home in cash. How the fuck am I supposed to get to 12 homes? I'm 24 years old right now. I'm about to be 25 in like a week, right? I got what is that? Fucking like 32 more years till I'm retirement age? That's like 2 houses a year. Guys, I'm behind.
You better get the fucking work.
I'm hoping that it's a snowball situation. Like once we buy our first house in cash, we'll snowball into like many, many more houses in cash. But guys, it's looking grim.
Scott Bessent just set the goal, and we got to try to get there somehow.
Call me Ryan because it's looking grim, folks. I don't know.
Oh my God, Ryan Grimm, what are we going to do? Shout out Drop Site News. Listen, folks, if you want early access to all of our content, and if you want to help support independent media, and maybe most importantly, commercial-free episodes,
100%.
go and become a patron.
Come on, guys. What are you doing? What are you doing? Sitting there on your lazy liberals.
Yeah, it's a tiered system.
Lazy liberals don't want to pay for the news.
Yeah, it's a tiered system. You get $3 tier, $5 tier, $10 tier, $25 tier. I think we were considering a higher tier if people really feeling lucrative.
Yeah, let me know if you want to buy a house in cash tier.
Yeah, maybe we'll make a buy a house in cash tier. $400,000.
Exactly, where there are no benefits other than the satisfaction that you're helping us buy a house in cash one day.
Heavy on this. You can also, if you want to support the show, subscribe to our 2 YouTube channels.
That's pretty good. HITO 1 and HITO 2.
HITO 1, HITO 2. Subscribe to Head in the Office 2. That's where we're posting the video essays, and we're trying to grow that out and expand our indoctrination skills into the medium
And
form.
they're really good video essays
It's true.
that are much more shareable, much more bite-sized than the full like 90 minutes we bring you on average here.
Yeah, we're talking 15 to 20.
15 to 20. It's talking issues. One issue, maybe.
Everyone's got time at lunch to pop up YouTube, watch video while you eat lunch.
Come on.
Everyone's got time for that.
You'll die if you don't have a YouTube video playing while you
Exactly.
eat.
You have to. If you're eating a meal and not watching YouTube, what's the point?
What the fuck are you doing? You're just sitting there just thinking? Motherfucker, drown out those thoughts with HITO 2. Go subscribe right now.
Exactly. You can also leave us a 5-star review either on Apple or on Spotify. All the other links to support the show, join the Discord and stuff, that's in the description.
Yeah,
But
today, unfortunately,
Yeah.
0 Apple reviews.
No
You
Apple
guys are
reviews.
severely lacking. Ever since we opened up the reviews to Spotify listeners, they've been clowning you time and time again.
oh my God.
Week after week. Innumerable Spotify reviews coming in, so much so we got to push them to the end of the episode. Oh, then you guys have the audacity to take your primo spot at the beginning of the show with these app reviews and leave none.
Yeah. No,
Ridiculous.
It's absolutely
ridiculous.
fucked. But
So Spotify's getting promoted.
yeah, Spotify's getting promoted. Spotify is the only set of reviews we're reading today because our Apple listener said, you guys are not quirked up enough.
You guys aren't good enough.
Yeah, no,
we're
it's
not good enough
fucked up.
for you.
Anyway, so these Spotify reviews, the first one from Tyler Rada something. Tyler.
Huge.
On Spotify. 51 states out of 1 imperialist nation. I'm not sure which is Beavis and which one is Butthead.
Oh, shit.
But these 2 quirked up white boys give me something to look forward to twice a week, Monday and Thursday. Patreon gang.
Money.
Having moved from the barren red wasteland of Mesa, Arizona, to the Blue Haven of Denver, I've been exposed close to more of my Democrats and can see better now that it is really just one uniparty government. I condemn ICE and all forms of political violence. Keep it up, boys.
Huge. This next one from Josh Griffin. 5 political violence groups out of 5, groups of which I condemn. Of course, nothing is a better distraction from the coverage of Europe's slide to fascism than these two quirked up white boys dropping some great takes about the current bin fire that is their country. As an attempted Patreon subscriber, sorry guys, rent was due. Understandable, I guess. I strongly believe that unlike various presidential candidates, these two fellas are more than entitled to run a podcast. Keep up the great coverage. Love from Ireland. I gotta have a brief aside here. We talked about a guy who shouldn't be running a podcast last week, Gavin Newsom. Yeah. We learned because of a dear listener that Gavin Newsom got a book.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom has a book coming out
Lessons
in a few weeks.
from like a young something,
yeah,
right?
Lessons from a young guy, lessons from a young son. Yeah.
Lessons from a young dumbass. Like at this point, that's
Josh Shapiro
insane.
also has a book coming out where he discloses that Kamala Harris's campaign, when they were vetting him for VP, accused him of being a Mossad agent.
Insane work.
So that might be next book review.
Yeah, it's either Josh Shapiro or Joe Manchin dead center. Make your voice heard and let us know in the comments which one you'd rather us read.
Yep. Next review here from Andreas Pugh, 5 out of 5 stars. Mashallah to these white boys. I'm from Minneapolis. Never forgive Frey. I cannot emphasize how much of a dishonest snake that particular man has been. He is the man who ran for re-election on the lie that he had banned no-knock warrants, which ballot Amir Locke murdered. Got Amir Locke murdered?
Probably,
maybe is what they're trying to say.
That's fucked up.
His swear word was auditioning for the Senate IMO because people here are pretty tired of him. Walz at least has an ounce of integrity.
Yeah,
I see what they're trying to say.
With all the things I've seen and experienced with Jacob Frey myself, like these last couple weeks, like initially giving him props
as an Omar Fateh supporter.
Yeah, and then immediately like regretting it, right? Yeah. I feel like he's following the Cory Booker path to success. Get out there and make a statement where you pretend that you're emotional about something and then never do anything else about it.
Yeah, Senator Platitude, man. We do not need another Senator Platitude.
We do not need another Cory Booker in the Senate. This next one from Noel Rodney Jr., 5 out of 5 stars for these seasoned Caucasians. Unlike other Democrats, I will take a stance and say this is the best tertiary news source on the internet. More Democrats need to take a stance and say on this, big on this. Been a patron since last year and haven't looked back as a black man living in East Long Island in the conservative growth hanging off NY. This NC-17 compliant podcast is a breath of fresh air. Played your show for my liberal dad, and he said, these white kids are smart. Wow. Keep up the good work. Good things are good. Bad things are bad. Big on that.
Shout out to your dad specifically.
Shout out.
Next review from H, 7 out of 7 NSPMs for the #1 geopolitical podcast. Somehow these quirked up Midwest white boys managed to have me laughing at news despite facing World War III right as I've gotten my life together. That's rough. Thank you for providing my primary news source in this trying time. We are journalists.
Whoa, now.
We are journalists. Also, since there's been questions raised over who is Jeremy and who is Gage, I believe Jeremy is the one who has never made a woman orgasm. And all I'll say is we are Charlie Kirk. That's a shout out to the Patreon list for those that don't listen to the end.
Big shouts out, and that's why you should listen to find all our content. Sometimes after we read that Patreon list, there's a little riff.
Yeah.
There's a little riff at the end there, and you guys are missing out. That shit is primo. A lot of you fuckers don't listen to the extras too. When we do extras, none this week because it's just all hell on earth all the time. But usually we get to the extras, and some of our best work happens there.
It's true. It's true.
I see the Spotify drop off, and it's fucked up.
Yeah,
guys.
no, it's fucked up. But I will say, actually, the whole like I've never made a woman orgasm. That's actually not a Patreon name. It's just me feeling compelled to tell the truth in that moment.
I just hide it in the Patreon list.
Yeah, I feel like every episode I have to, because I lie every other part of the show.
Exactly.
I'm always lying, so I just feel I need to tell the truth.
There's a bug in me. There's something in me that like it aches and it desires to come out, and I just have to save it to the end right there. This next one from MJ Mike, 5 out of 5 stars. I will just keep my review short. I genuinely appreciate you two for being so goated all the time, and I just have a question. Which of the Pod Johns is your favorite, and is it Tommy? If so, he's mine. I don't care for all their takes, but Tommy has the most consistent good takes, I say. Is Tommy the one that's like not the guy that we usually see all the time and not the one that has like the horrible takes with the curly hair?
The horrible takes with the curly hair, I think, is John Lovett.
That's John Lovett. And then the one that you usually see that's kind of like the skinny like guy, that's like John Favreau, right?
Yeah, that's John Favreau. I think John Favreau is the main guy.
Yes.
Tommy's all right, I guess.
Tommy goes on Majority Report sometimes, or at least he used to, I think, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. He's the one who looks like he's always like cracked out.
Yep. Yep, Dave, yep.
Yeah, I guess his takes are decent, but like all of them are kind of just the same guy. You know what I mean? Like they don't really deviate from each other all that much.
It's like different sizes of the same font, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Obama staffers.
So ruining the fucking world.
Yeah, I believe that is all of our reviews here. I will say there's one person that said, please stop pronouncing Minneapolis.
Hey guys.
So I guess you're gonna have to lock in on that.
Calm down.
It is not Indianapolis.
It's not Indianapolis. Minneapolis.
Yeah,
it's
Minneapolis.
hard. It's hard to read sometimes.
It's hard and we won't change.
It's hard and I won't change. When things get hard, I stop. I resort to my old ways. And today, guys, we're getting geopolitical.
We are getting very geopolitical. We're the number one geopolitical podcast. And today, I think the broad sort of theme is the American century of humiliation. We've been in it for, I think, a little bit at this point.
100%. Really, about a year ago today.
I would argue it was sort of a gradient as we went into Trump. We sort of began the American century of humiliation, and then it really took hold in Brandon.
Yeah.
And now it is just obvious to everybody.
It's like an exponential graph. It starts slow. Growth isn't crazy. You go 2, 4, 8, 16. Exactly. You're like, that's not a big jump. And all of a sudden you're at, 32, 64? Oh,
yeah. Yeah, you see that 2, 4, 6, and then you're like, well, that just might be a linear line.
Exactly.
And then we hit the exponential American century of humiliation, and here we are. So, as we said at the beginning, longtime listeners of this show know how we feel about the World Economic Forum. We are haters, not even on any conspiracism shit, but this is just plainly the venue where the rich and powerful heads of state and heads of corporations come and plan how they're going to make you broke.
Exactly.
As evidenced by Scott Bessent saying that he wants to support landlords that own 10, maybe 12 houses.
So awesome. So cool.
So the World Economic Forum this year, I do think, is a little bit different, not because these people have changed in any fundamental way, but because Trump is disrupting the global system in a way that they don't like specifically.
Yeah.
That's really what's happening here. And he's not disrupting it in a principled, cool way. It's just he's kind of being a dumbass.
Yeah, he's fucking up the money because he thinks he looks cool doing it.
Yeah. It's the same shit with the tariffs. It's why a bunch of corporations Walmart and Target, they're on board with most of what Trump is doing. But then he hits the tariffs and they're like, well, now you're hurting our bag.
Exactly.
So I think that probably explains what's going on here. Trump's speech at the World Economic Forum featured a lot of ramblings about windmills. He said that anybody who gets a windmill is essentially a dumbass, and China makes a lot of windmills but doesn't have any windmills.
Which is not true.
Which is just not true. They have massive windmill farms.
It's just a genuine falsehood.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's been on this windmill thing. I don't genuinely have no idea what he has against fucking windmills. They're the most just boring thing ever.
Yeah, and one of the best clean ways to farm energy.
The wind moved the fucking turbine.
Yeah.
That's it. They're really not complicated.
Well, yeah, and then he was like, but the windmills, they just sit there, they never move. It's well, it's not windy.
Yeah, they wait.
That's why they put them in the ocean.
What moves them.
Yeah, that's why they put them in bodies of water, because then the wind comes through a little bit. Fucking whatever, dude.
But just awesome to see our president up there doing that. Just so cool. That's the guy that my peers elected to lead this nation. The guy that goes to the money convention and says, you guys are idiots for buying windmills. And he's like, China burns coal. And it's yes, China does burn coal, but it's they also have the windmills.
Well, it's everybody burns coal, man. They just industrialized. Let them burn coal.
You think this guy was Joe Manchin the way he's always bringing up coal? You remember a couple months ago when he said clean coal?
Yeah, well, he's been saying that since 2016, I think.
So fucking
Trump's
cool.
been on the clean coal wave, which is what does that mean?
It's just not true.
Yeah. He also said, and this is a dumb guy thing. This is a dumb American guy thing to say. He essentially said that the U.S. saved Europe from World War II, which is it's a hilarious thing to say in front of a bunch of Europeans, and it's also that is what a dumb American thinks.
Yeah. That's what someone who literally doesn't know how World War II happened.
Yeah, has no idea what the Russians did, what the British did. All they think of when they think of World War II is D-Day. That's all they think of.
Famously, the Nazis lost because they were fighting a war on two fronts.
Yeah.
What was the other front? Is the Soviets.
Yeah. He also, of course, made more arguments for the U.S. taking Greenland. It should be noted that the U.S. recognized Danish sovereignty over Greenland in 1916, back when the U.S. was trying to purchase the Virgin Islands. I'll also say, Greenland is an imperial acquisition for Denmark, but so is everything else we have.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's just it's a bunch of nonsense. When Trump is what, they just showed up on a boat 500 years ago or whatever. First of all, we've recognized that they have control over Greenland. And second, that's how everybody has gotten land ever.
Exactly. All borders are fake and stolen at one point.
Yeah.
It's just that's how the game has worked. And now we just kind of recognize that and are accepting them where they are. Sometimes they change, blah, blah, blah. Didn't he also kind of back off on like taking Greenland?
Yeah, I do have in here a little bit later on. He sort of backed off and he said like a framework has been established and that he's taking the tariffs away, which is why I made the joke like tariffs are off again. But he said he's not going to apply those tariffs on February 1st in a couple of weeks and that they've reached a framework for the deal. But just a few hours before that, he was like, I'll stop at nothing short of ownership. So I don't, and the Danes have made it clear like we're not selling Greenland.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and before this, I think the people that live on the island of Greenland had essentially been trying to like gain independence. So I don't know, like they obviously don't want to just be purchased by the United States.
Yeah.
Like you would forego the Scandinavian model of healthcare to be an American.
I want to pay for my healthcare.
Yeah.
Please bring Blue Cross Blue Shield over here.
Yeah, have DTE Energy put boots down in Greenland.
I want DTE to write energy policy in Greenland, and I want to pay for my healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And I want American schools too. That'd be good.
It's always a bunch of fucking nonsense. We'll see what happens with that. It's hard to tell. But what's more interesting to me with the World Economic Forum is the response from foreign leaders to Trump's aggression. And we do have to unfortunately give some props to our neighbors to the north, the Canadians. And I hate to give them props.
Endless beef.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's Canada.
It's Canada. Come on,
like,
guys.
what good is there to say about Canada? Sure, you have free healthcare, but like everything else is bad.
Sure, you have good free healthcare. You produce Drake.
Yeah, but and you don't even have boneless wings.
Ridiculous.
What's the fucking point?
Ridiculous.
What's the fucking point? So just before the World Economic Forum, Canada announced a massive trade deal with China to allow in almost 50,000 electric vehicles a year into Canada, while essentially lowering their tariffs from like 100% to 5% or something like that, in exchange for like some other like agricultural related stuff that they're going to export into Canada. Essentially, Canada said, America's being fucking insane. Valid. We're going to open up a partnership with China. Valid.
Yeah, fuck GM, fuck Ford, fuck Chrysler. Valid.
Yeah, and I know what my next purchase is going to be. Yeah. I'm going into Windsor from Detroit, and I'm getting myself an electric vehicle next year.
I'm crossing that bridge with one car. I'm coming back in another. That's what's going to happen. I'm coming back with a BYD, baby. I'm building my dream.
I am.
That's what's happening. It's also funny that like even if the cars were allowed in with 100% tariff, that's just normal car price. Mm-hmm. These things are like $15,000. Yeah, it's insane.
Because like what China does is like they look at what other people are doing. They low-key steal the intellectual property, and then they do it better and cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Well, because they do it with state subsidies. They do it with, like, hella subsidies. It's kind of like the Amazon model, where it's like, we're going to price you out of the market by subsidizing something so low that no one else can survive, and then, like, they subsume all the competition.
But it's like, that's what America used to do, especially for, like, agricultural stuff.
That's what American companies do. That's what Amazon did. It's cool when a private company does it. It's not cool when a country does it.
Fucked up.
And there's fucked up things about China, but, like, give me the cheap car.
Give me the cheap car. Give me the cheap EV, frankly. Man. I want the cheap EV so badly. As soon as the China, and look, we live in Michigan.
Yeah.
The birth of the automobile.
In the Motor City right now.
In the Motor City right now. And I would buy a Chinese EV in a heartbeat. Like, I would not even think about it, man. $8,000 for a car?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Canadian PM Mark Carney gave a speech at Davos, essentially calling for the middle powers like Canada to band together against what I think he called like the rivalry of strong nations or the rivalry of large nations. And he said, quote, "We're in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Great powers using economic integration as weapons, tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. We live in an era of great power rivalry. The rules-based order is fading. Middle powers must act together because if we are not at the table, we're on the menu."
Damn.
That's the Canadian PM saying that.
That's
to the leaders and the corporate overlords of the world.
That's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts. It kind of feels like our influence is going to wane a little bit. If our neighbors to the north are backing away from us,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is interesting for a couple of reasons. So first of all, this is our closest ally, Canada, closest in proximity, and I think just like closest in terms of alliances. Mm-hmm. Like Canada's always been right there with us. This is our closest ally, explicitly drawing out or illustrating a global order that intentionally excludes the United States.
Yeah.
Like that to me feels significant.
Well, it's like he's literally doing the deals with China. Like we're strengthening that relationship, getting rid of our relationship. It's just like they're diversifying away from us, and that's like sucks.
And I can't blame them.
I can't blame
I've been waiting for someone to do something.
Trump hit the kill myself button.
Yeah.
And the country's just going under. Why would you want to be a part of that? Why would you want to be tied with that financially?
And that's why we call it the American century of humiliation, because we're doing random bullshit for no fucking reason just because we don't want to tax wealthy people.
We're pissing off our allies because we think that we can. We're bullying the entire world just because we think that we can. Like I think behind the U.S. State Department right now is this idea that these people will never divest away from America. They'll never stop doing whatever we say because we've ran shit for so long, and they think because we've ran shit for so long, that's just it. We have to. There's an eternal state of American running shit. They can't conceive of a world where people decide that they can get together and do a different thing.
It's just so interesting to me because all of this has been like the sort of status quo for 80 years, right? The United States at the head, Europe sort of benefiting on the coattails of the United States as we lead the sort of through the Cold War and against like third world countries and stuff like this, all the effort to sort of like make capital the global system of financing everything, the global system of running every market. And like Trump was alive for the creation of all of this. Like he was there. He's probably had companies that benefited directly from all of the shit that he's now railing against.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
It's just kind of like American exceptionalism at the end of the day, isn't it? Like Trump and Marco Rubio and the rest of the people that are running the country and letting Trump get away with everything think that America is so exceptional that no matter what we do, everyone will still fuck with us. And it is so clearly not the case.
Yeah.
It is so clearly never blown up in anyone's face bigger than this, but they still can't fathom it.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting. The other thing for me is like Mark Carney as the Canadian PM and just as like a guy who's been in Canadian politics, he's a centrist technocrat. And what he laid out in his speech, like he was a Goldman Sachs executive.
Nice.
Like he is not a leftist, you know what I mean? But what he laid out in his speech was essentially the leftist critique of the post-World War II global order, right? The global financial system being designed by the United States for the benefit of the United States and our allies, with more than half of the world's wealth immediately after being held by Americans, and then establishing these financial institutions like the World Bank, the IMF, the World Trade Organization, and even like the United Nations, all to benefit our capital interests. Like that was how the world was constructed after World War II. And he's coming out with the leftist critique, essentially saying like all of this wasn't devised to make things like equal and free and fair, but instead to subordinate poorer countries to the systems that benefit the wealthier countries.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way. Like there hasn't been a change. I guess the change is that Trump is a lot more explicit and brazen about it. But for him to recognize that as someone not in a poor country, like Canada isn't broke or anything like that, I think is like, I don't know, it feels seismic to me. Like that feels important.
Well, because it's literally a break from how the world has been run.
Yeah.
And I again, like I don't think that Trump and the rest of people in the State Department are ready to like confront that reality that the way that the world has been organized before has been to the benefit of the United States, by the United States. We were like the first superpower, I guess, in like the modern era.
Yeah, we're the hegemon. Yeah.
We designed ourselves to be that superpower. And they don't understand that requires buy-in. And people aren't buying in anymore. People are like selling America, if you will. It's been a popular thing recently. Other countries are selling off U.S. bonds. Other people are getting rid of things. Like shit's kind of going away from us.
Well, I mean, after World War II, like Europe is essentially like decimated completely. The Soviet Union is reeling and America is mostly unscathed. In fact, we built up our manufacturing base because we were producing weapons up until the point in which we entered the war ourselves. So we have at the end of World War II, I think the stat is like something like half of all of the world's wealth was held by the United States. We have an immense amount of power to establish organizations like the IMF and the Bretton Woods system and the gold standard and all this stuff, and it all directly benefits us. That's when USD became the global reserve currency, which gives us an extraordinary amount of power. And now that the empire, or now that like domestically people are struggling, we've deindustrialized, manufacturing has gone away, people are struggling to afford basic necessities, our elites essentially have to answer why that is. And now they're lashing out at the very system that put us in front of everybody else to begin with.
Yeah.
And for a Canadian prime minister to acknowledge what us lefties call neo-imperialism, to me is just like, what are we doing?
It's wild.
A Goldman Sachs guy.
You fucked up so bad the Goldman Sachs guy is accidentally one of us.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? And this is all because of a couple 100,000 guys in 7 states?
Yeah.
Wild.
It's because of 10,000 voters in Wisconsin, man.
Absurd.
10,000 Wisconsinites said, eggs are too expensive. I'm going to destroy the entire global order as we know it.
It's because people in like Idaho, Wyoming, the flyovers have more representation than the rest of the goddamn country proportionally.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? The Electoral College is fucking dumb, man. Everything's fucking stupid.
So, yeah, for a Goldman Sachs guy to be like, the leftists were right about the global order, it's just a tool of coercion, I think is very interesting. I have no idea what comes next. France also said something about we need to open up for Chinese investment. France, of course, is unique among European nations because, like, you know, they do things like keep their own nukes and don't rely on the U.S. as much for defense spending and stuff like that. So I have no idea what things look like going forward. But because Trump has been acting like a psychopath, and because the United States has, even over the course of the Brandon administration, kind of just abandoned this idea that, like, our allies and our interests are accountable to anything, see Israel. I do think like the facade, the mask of like legitimacy has sort of fallen away.
And I wonder if maybe that's kind of where a lot of the break started, because a lot of our allies broke with us on Gaza, initially, and we were just the only people that were actually ardently defending Israel at every single turn. Everywhere else offered like condemnation, whether or not they were toothless or not, they at least meant something. There was at least some break from like the line that we were pushing out to everybody. And now Trump's fucking up the money and everyone's like, I gotta get out of here.
During the Brandon administration, regularly on the United Nations Security Council, we were the only person stopping resolutions to tell Israel to like chill out. Russia was like, yeah, that can pass. Russia, the guys who are like one of our adversaries, one of our main adversaries, conducting like one of the major invasions of the world right now. Russia was like, yeah, Israel needs to chill.
Israel needs to chill. Russia, the guy who the country who launched a war, like invaded another country, Ukraine, actively fighting and
a
killing
ground
people,
war.
Said, guys, Netanyahu's a bit too much. And they're right.
And even if they're not doing that for any principled reason, or maybe it was just to like hurt U.S. interests, the point is that like the entire body of the United Nations, every country around the world stood up and said like, hey, this is something that's wrong, and we need to use the existing international institutions to stop what is happening here. And the United States told them, no, that's not going to happen. What's happening right now is going to continue, specifically because we fuck with Israel heavy, and it benefits us because of like regional interests and stuff like that. Awesome. And I think the rest of the world saw that, and, some of the legitimacy of those institutions kind of fell apart. Because it's like, if that's not wrong, then nothing is. And then, of course, you have Trump coming in and torpedoing, for no fucking reason, all of our trade deals that we have with every other country.
Well, it's crazy because so many people got mad, and so many people were saying the line that, like, oh my God, America does one thing, and people jump into our adversaries' arms. Everybody goes and rallies behind China as soon as America, like, messes up one thing. What's the point of an alliance? And maybe they think like that because Americans are constantly conditioned by people like Alyssa Slotkin or other Democrats and a bunch of other conservatives to think that when your ally does something egregious and horrible and morally awful, that you have to defend them no matter what, because that has been the line. Israel's an ally. What Pete Buttigieg say? Israel's an ally.
You put your armor on your friend.
And you give them a hug when they go and do a genocide. So maybe part of that is because we've been conditioned to think that you can do literally whatever you want, and as long as you have a quote-unquote friend, they should back you up. But that's not how the world operates, and that's not how anyone should operate, and that's what we've been saying for a while.
Number one rule for all geopolitics, alliances are always conditional. Sometimes you don't know the conditions. Like, obviously, one condition of our alliance with Israel is not like, hey, you can't do bad stuff, because they clearly can. But like when countries are allied with us, or when they have trade deals with us, or when they just on our behalf refuse to have trade deals with an adversary like China, that is happening for a specific reason. And if we sort of like erode the basis upon which those alliances are based, then they're going to go somewhere else because the alliances are conditional.
And like, if part of those alliances are like the system of globalism and like trade networks that we've established, and then Trump gets in office and he says, I'm going to fuck up all the trade networks like huge and cause a global catastrophe and crash my markets 1 billion times.
I'm going to invade Greenland.
And they're going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And I'm going to invade a NATO ally. I think people are going to want to get away from that system. I think people are right to want to get away from that system. And that's crazy.
So in sum, I don't know how serious these other countries are about squeezing out the U.S. It seems like the only European country that was like interested in pushing back is France. Maybe we'll see. Emmanuel Macron had like fucking pink eye or something and had his aviators on at the World Economic Forum saying something like that. Canada seems serious about locking in. We'll see how other countries act. Maybe they'll lock in. But I do know what my next major purchase is going to be. And as soon as those Chinese EVs hit the ground at Windsor, I'm there. I'm immediately there.
I'm getting across the Detroit River. I'm walking across that goddamn bridge. I'm swimming across that river, and I'm driving back in a Chinese electric vehicle.
And there's nobody that can stop me. Nobody that can stop me. The congregation is missing someone. And that someone, dear listener, is you. The congregation awaits you over on our Discord. If you go into the description of this episode right now, there will be a link to join the Head in the Office Discord, where you will find more than 1,000 like-minded individuals for you to interact with. And maybe most importantly, we'll be there.
1,000 members strong. It is a burgeoning community of HITO heads.
That's right.
Ready to receive you into their arms. Make you a part of the community. Vest you as a HITO head.
Over on Discord, we have discussions. You can interact with other HITO heads. And maybe, for some fun, we can do some community events. And we know that you want to be a part of that. Only available over on the official Head in the Office Discord. In some other news related to destroying the world order as we know it, we got to talk about Trump's Board of Peace.
Yeah, fucking speaking of Israel.
Speaking of Israel, so you may recall the Board of Peace was originally something we talked about in the context of Gaza, right? This entity that was being created to oversee the quote-unquote ceasefire. Should, of course, note that the ceasefire is not a ceasefire. There's been like several Palestinian deaths every day since the quote-unquote ceasefire was instituted back in like October or something like that. Israel obviously, what's the adage? Like, you see sweet fire? That's exactly what Israel is doing here. But now the Board of Peace has been expanded to include basically all conflicts in the world.
Yeah, just a dope one right there. And it's something that, really only Trump could come up with.
Yeah.
Only a guy like Trump could be like, I'm going to make this thing called a Board of Peace, and I'm going to control everything. And I'm going to appoint the craziest people to it.
It's just, like, this is a dumb guy's UN.
Yep.
Like, that's what he's trying to invite all of these countries to join his Board of Peace that's dedicated to conflict resolution. That's just what the UN's supposed to do.
In a lot of cases, it's also just like an evil guy's UN.
It is evil,
because it seems like it's just getting all the evilest people together.
Yeah, and the charter allows signatories to join for 3 years, but the only way they can get a permanent seat is if they just pay $1 billion.
So cool.
So man. I know our next Patreon goal. Guys, we're trying to buy a seat on the Board of Peace.
Guys, you could get us. You could get 2 valuable voices on the Board of Peace for the low price of $2 billion.
We're trying to buy our way onto the Board of Peace. Another reason this is just stupid and evil from the charter itself, quote, Donald J. Trump shall serve as inaugural chairman of the Board of Peace, and he shall separately serve as inaugural representative of the United States of America.
Nice.
Love that. The chairman shall at all times designate a successor for the role of chairman. Replacement of the chairman may occur only following voluntary resignation or as the result of incapacity as determined by a unanimous vote of the executive board, at which time the chairman's designated successor shall immediately assume the position of the chairman and all associated duties and authorities of the chairman. So essentially, this charter includes Donald Trump's name specifically, not President of the United States, but Donald Trump. And Donald Trump specifically chooses who comes next.
That's so awesome.
He's just made himself a Board of Peace, not the U.S. a Board of Peace.
I bet there's going to be like a prize associated with it too that he's going to award himself.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. I bet he's going to call it like a something peace prize, the Donnell Peace Prize, like the Dunroe Doctrine.
All of this happening because bro couldn't get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. Maybe appeasement would have worked. Maybe appeasement would have saved us from a lot of this dumb shit if the Nobel Committee did like an awful thing there. That would have been really cool. This is just
stupid as hell, dude.
Stupid as hell.
It's so embarrassing.
And it's also just like the fact that Donald Trump names himself and the fact that Donald Trump, when he's not president anymore, can go and name who the successor is going to be. Jared Kushner, mark my fucking words, Jared Kushner is going to be the chairman of the Board of Peace. That guy finds himself everywhere all the time in every geopolitical thing.
Well, I feel like you could probably write like a Succession-style drama TV show about the person who's trying to be the next chairman of the Board of Peace.
Oh, for sure.
After Donald Trump has to choose his successor, because like this shit's just ridiculous. And also just like it feels like it doesn't even matter to mention this kind of thing anymore, but like writing yourself into a charter for like an international or national organization is shit that dictators do.
Yes.
Like they put their name specifically rather than the position or office that they hold is dictatorship, man. But it feels sort of useless to point that out. But so far, the signatories include such bastions of humanity and civil rights such as the UAE, Hungary, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Argentina, and Israel, among others.
That is so cool. That's awesome.
Axis of evil.
Fucking Netanyahu is on the Board of Peace. This is the goddamn League of Villains. This is the Legion of Doom. This is the Akatsuki that just got together to go fuck everything up. It's just all of the world's bad guys paid Trump $1 billion so that he could do whatever. And also, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't know where this $1 billion goes.
No, I have no idea. I mean, this isn't like an entity that's been sanctioned by Congress or anything.
Yeah, this isn't like an agency that the government made. This is just Trump's thing.
Yeah, like Congress has to agree to like treaties like this.
This is his club. Yeah. Like they'll probably meet at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like famously, obviously the Congress passed like our attendance at the UN, and famously the precursor to the UN, the League of Nations, Woodrow Wilson like drafted all this shit up, and then Congress was like, yeah, we're not joining. And so that shit fell apart immediately. But like, yeah, Congress hasn't like agreed to this or anything like that. So I don't know what the fuck is going on here. I also should note that Vladimir Putin was invited.
Cool.
And he said he'd consider joining if the US like unfroze Russian assets. So I bet that's going to happen.
I bet Putin's going to give Trump $1 billion, and then all of a sudden we're going to have a new trade deal with Russia. And he's going to be like, guys, gas is going to be $2.
Yeah, in 10 years.
In 10 years, gas would be $2. We're going to get all the Russian oil. Jesus Christ, man. Everything's a farce.
Yeah.
Everything's so stupid. First, as tragedy, the UN.
Yeah,
that is
man.
farce, the Board of Peace.
This shit is just beyond embarrassing.
Yeah, what do you say about this?
I don't know, man. It's a joke.
There's no analysis. There's
Yeah.
no Trump is trying to create a secret world order to do things. It's just one guy trying to stroke his ego. This is just masturbatory.
And it doesn't even like it's completely unnecessary. Like it's the same shit that we talked about with like Venezuela and even with Greenland. None of this is for the like purposes of actually doing imperialism. It's just because he wants to look powerful. Like the US essentially already functions at our behest because we have a veto on everything.
Yeah, the UN.
Or yeah, the UN, that's
Yeah.
what I meant. It already functions at our behest. Like they can't do anything without us saying okay.
No, literally, it's like what, us, China, and who else have like one of 3 vetoes?
Russia, and there's a few. I think there's 5 permanent members of the Security Council.
And they all have a veto. And
have
they
a
all
veto.
can just say
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So cool.
Like what? Like it's fucking pointless, dude. It's so stupid. I can't tell if this is like him trying to look busy or if he's got like actual intentions for this thing.
I don't think it's either. I think this is him just aura farming. Like,
Yeah.
I think this is just literally him thinking that this is cool. Just like how he did the thing in Venezuela and then said, the regime still gets to stay in place and I'm gonna keep an eye on it. And then he does this thing and then he does everything just half baked.
Yeah.
He just does things to say that he did them and then argue for a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
And now if you get us $1 billion, we'll buy a seat.
Guys, we're really lobbying for this one now. I think we could do. I think if we all pooled our resources together and went on a campaign, we could get a seat on the Board of Peace.
I could be your next chairman.
I could go take a picture smiling with Netanyahu like Cory Booker.
Shit, if Senator Booker can do it, why not me?
During the next starvation campaign, I can go, Mr. Netanyahu, let's flick it up. and then we'll get a wicked flick and I'll be smiling in it and everything. And then I'll come to you guys and you're like, why are you taking a picture of Netanyahu? And I'll say, well, I think it's really important to just be in the room. I think it's really important to be
If
a
I'm not
voice
at the
in these
table,
rooms.
if I'm not at the table, then I'm on the menu.
They're not going to listen to me. And then Netanyahu will give me a golden pager. And I'll be like, wow, I really respected this thing that you did. And then I'll sign a bomb. And I'll be like, guys, if I'm not in the room, they're not going to listen to me. So cool.
And then
man.
I'll do a 24-hour platitude.
That's awesome. 24-hour platitude stand, or alternatively, the 24-hour platitude.
The book, man.
That's awesome.
Anyways.
I think also at Davos, Trump was doing his speech and he just got mixed up Greenland and Iceland.
Oh, yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, not
that's
the same.
just old guy. You got to bring up Biden because that's Biden.
Yeah, no, the one Biden after another, man. One Biden after another. Like, I don't know. Like, again, fucking Biden and Bush battling it out. But there is like a third more sinister thing. And I don't know who it is. I guess that might just be Trump himself.
Well, I think maybe that's the amalgam of like Bush and Biden. Like when Bush and Biden get together and they merge and they do the fusion dance, you get Donald Trump.
Oh
and he's
my
like a
God.
more powerful version of both of them. He's got the gaffes of Biden and doing the wrecking everything like George Bush did. It's fucking awesome what we've got going on here. And it's like Biden Finlandized NATO.
Oh,
Trump, he's making his own NATO.
He's Americanizing Greenland. Or he's
He's
trying to at the very least. It's so fucking. I don't know how anybody can defend this shit. We could put an infinite amount of military bases on Greenland.
Yeah.
And also, like, Russia, China not going to invade Greenland because if they did, NATO Article 5 response triggered, we go to war with them.
Exactly.
Like, it's not going to happen.
That's just Cold War II.
But like that's what we mean when we say like neo-imperialism and stuff. Like because of NATO and because the United States is so powerful and all of these institutions, we already own Greenland.
But like you're failing to consider that that's fake and gay.
Exactly.
You're failing to consider that like not having our war fighters go and touch down on fucking D-Day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever we're doing, and go and like kill people and draw blood and make people lose their lives and die and be warriors. That's not cool. Like that's what's cool.
Yeah, one more invasion, I swear gas prices will go down. Just one more invasion.
Exactly. Like we need to do the thing where we're killing people because that's cool. What about America's warrior ethos?
It is awesome how there's just like no rally around the flag effect for any of these military operations.
No, for real.
Like everyone sees it and they're like, this shit sucks, dude. Also, I will say, like, they keep saying this thing about, like, the Western Hemisphere is ours and we're going to run the Western Hemisphere. Doesn't that feel like a considerable step down for the United States?
Then running the world?
Than, like, being the global hegemon? Like, we're just going to stick to our side of the planet now?
Yeah, no, I'd literally rather just be, like, the superpower. I'd rather be the hegemon than just have this.
No, I mean, I'd rather there be no hegemons, but, like, that's...
Of course.
That's not on the table.
In a world where there's two options, it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, no, this just sucks. It's so bad.
It really is all just aesthetics.
Yep.
Like like it is. Like, it's, if anything is true, it's that these guys just think they're aura farming, but they look fucking stupid. And you look at Pete Hegseth, and Pete Hegseth makes more and more sense every day, not because the things that he says make sense, but because it makes sense why he got put in the position that he is.
Oh, yeah.
All of these guys think it's cool to be war fighters and warrior ethos and kick trans people out of the military and kick women out of the military. This is a boys club and we need to kill people in death and destruction.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing.
And to be like, the Geneva Conventions are gay. Like, we don't need them.
Gay,
We should be able. We should treat it as a checklist. We should be able to do all of those things.
They're just Reddit posting.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, I get it. Like, the financial institutions of the world are falling apart, or they at the very least had gotten to a point where, like, the contradictions were heightening, domestic material conditions were worsening. But I didn't think they were so bad that Trump would do all this bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, this feels very fast.
It does feel
in terms
very
of the
fast.
speed run to the downfall.
Well, you know, when you appoint a Fox News host to run the military, when you're like, hasn't he appointed like 20 something Fox News hosts to like either his cabinet or like advisor or high level White House positions?
Yeah.
When you got Stephen Miller, an ideological Nazi running bullshit, when you got Marco Rubio, a guy who's got a personal vendetta against Cuba and I guess Latin America, running the State Department, it's just all grievances and aesthetics. That's all these people want to do, is just be personally aggrieved about things that don't exist or things that don't really matter, and think they're looking cool while they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's much more to say about this.
Yeah, I guess just like the analysis is, and at least from like a leftist perspective, that Trump's response, or Trump doing all of this, or just the right wing embracing this like ideology that's like semi-isolationist, but really is just like angry at every pre-existing institution. It's all just an attempt to avoid the fact that we should be taxing the rich more.
Huge.
Like that we should be putting capital under the control of democratic deliberation, but because they can't do that, because Trump himself is a capitalist, they represent the interests of capital. They're lashing out at literally everything else they can find, whether it's immigrants or countries to the south or institutions that made this country the most powerful in the world or whatever else. They cannot face the fact that like we just have to regulate capital.
And all we can do is just kind of like sit here and take it.
Yeah.
Because the only check on like what's going on right now is supposed to be impeachment and removal, but Congress is just routinely ceding its power all over to Donald Trump and letting him do whatever. We couldn't even get Congress to vote that they had the power. We couldn't even get Congress to do a symbolic vote to say, no, we have the power to declare war. They're like, we'll just let you do it. You can just have whatever you want and do whatever you want. This dude is running around like a king, and every institution that's supposed to exist to stop him from doing that is just saying, nah, shit, do it. Go for it, king.
Yeah, no, institutions aren't real, man. They're only real if they're like actually, if the people within them are willing to enforce themselves.
Exactly. And
like our Congress is given, and this has been like a long historical trend, right? Like Congress for years and years and years has been ceding power. I mean, it goes back even before the War on Terror, but I think that was like the culmination of it with the 2002 AUMF just being stretched beyond imagination to include like shit all the way up until like the U.S. defending Israel in 2023.
Yeah.
Like it just insane the way that Congress has completely ceded power to regulate like what our military is doing. But yeah, I guess this is just the culmination of all the dumb shit Democrats and Republicans have been doing for decades, man.
That's so sick. And it's like, I don't even want to speculate on what's going to happen.
I have no idea.
We're like 360 some days. We finally hit a full year into like Trump's second term.
Yep.
We finished Trump's first year in office, right?
Yep.
And we got 3 more to go. We got more than like 1,000 more days to go of this. And it's like, if what's been happening this last year is what I have to look forward to, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, and I feel like this month alone has just been like as insane as the entire year before it.
Yeah, like the ante just keeps getting up in ways that I could not have predicted before. As soon as I start to think that Greenland's a real thing and he might put boots on the ground in Greenland, he says, nope, guys, we reached concepts of a plan, tariff off. And it's like, fucking A, dude, what am I supposed to do? What is the thinking guy to do?
Yeah, and I feel like the Trump supporters will probably spike the football and be like, yeah, he was just using the threat of an invasion as like a foot in the door to get a better deal. It's like they would have let you do whatever you want anyway.
Exactly. None of this ever had to
never
happen.
needed to threaten war.
And that's always going to be the excuse, is that like you don't understand the like masterful like chess that he's playing. I mean, to be fair, like they're acting the same way that Biden people acted during the finlandization of NATO.
This is true.
He's so good you'd think he'd have a PhD. It's just different fonts of the same fucking bullshit.
Yeah. The debate performance wasn't that bad. He just had a cold. I hate commercials.
Me too.
I hate listening to them. I hate when I hear them, whether it's on TV or on podcasts.
I just can't stand commercials.
They're the worst. In the one place you can go to avoid commercials like this one you're listening to right now is patreon.com/headintheofficepod. Become a patron and you get early access to our episodes, and they're all completely commercial free. No more interruptions.
And you could be one of our friends.
And that's arguably the more important point.
And, in trying times like this, friendship is what we really need.
Friendship's really important. And you can buy your way into being a friend of ours by heading over to patreon.com/headintheofficepod. Again, early access to episodes, no commercials, access to all of our content before anyone else sees it. Become a patron. Speaking of my Democrats, man.
Yeah, shout out my Democrats. We we got to talk about them.
We got to talk about I love my Democrats, man.
I do.
They're my favorite.
They're my Democrats.
They are my Democrats. So I think we need to talk about some of the government funding bills, more specifically the DHS funding bill that's making its way through Congress, because my Democrats are trying to maybe do something good, but are low-key just giving up.
Yeah. I think that's a good summary of what's going on. They're trying to put limits in place, then they're not.
Yeah.
Well, they are, but they're not.
And before we get into the nitty-gritty of what Congress is doing, I do want to just offer a reminder for why ICE has just got to go completely. This organization is fucking rotten.
Yeah, the battle right now is about DHS funding, which is really just about ICE funding.
Yeah.
ICE is what's at contention here, and it's important to put that in context.
Yeah, and honestly, all of DHS should be in contention.
Yes.
But the State Department budget, which included funding for Israel, just kind of sailed through. So I we cannot ask them for much. Democrats will not do all that much. We just did an illegal invasion of Venezuela, and they couldn't be bothered to say, hold on.
Everyone's talking about my compromise. You got to make compromise. You got to make things work. My compromise is just focusing on the ICE budget within the DHS budget.
Yep. So if you needed a reminder for why ICE needs to be stopped with every ounce of strength that we have, there was a story that came out a few days ago. ICE arrested a 5-year-old and his father in Minneapolis this week. From the Independent, the two arrived home, and quote, the school alleges that once officers apprehended Liam's father, that's the kid, the agent took the child out of the still running vehicle, led him to the door, and directed him to knock on the door in order to see if anyone else was home.
Oh my God.
Essentially using the 5-year-old as bait.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they kidnapped a kid and his father. That's crazy, man.
That is crazy. I think that's something that happened before, was alleged to happen before, is ICE, the parent ran in the house to seek shelter from being deported or whatever, and they used the kid that was outside to try and lure them out before. That happened a couple months ago.
Yeah, insane.
Just
insane. Now DHS obviously claims that the father was an illegal immigrant, or the criminal mastermind, worse than Hitler or whatever. And they said the kid went with the father at the father's request. But now they've both been moved to San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, wow.
All the way from Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's far away. That's not close.
That feels like a punishment in and of itself. You move these people across the fucking country from where they actually live.
To Texas?
Yeah, all the way to Texas. The father's lawyer said that they are not citizens, but, quote, have been following the legal process perfectly, from presenting themselves at the border to applying for asylum and waiting for the process to go through. Essentially, the government knew who these people were. They were doing things the right way. They were working on getting to a permanent status of some kind, and they just scooped up these two by ICE, and or these two got scooped up by ICE, and they used a kid as fucking bait to try to draw more people out.
Yeah, I saw ICE made a statement about this on Twitter, because everything's fucking on Twitter. It's the most awful thing ever.
Yeah.
ICE made a statement about this on Twitter, and they were saying oh, blah blah blah, this is all fake news. What happened was, and then they published their version of events. I don't believe them. I just straight up I don't think there's any reason to believe these people. Look at how they've talked about every other thing that they've done that we know they're lying about.
Yeah.
I just will never believe these people, and I think that's part of why ICE just needs to be gotten rid of in the first place.
Yeah.
It's an agency that has absolutely take their credibility when it comes to any matter whatsoever.
One is DHS is the same organization that came out, Kristi Noem specifically, the leader of DHS, came out immediately and called Renee Nicole Good a fucking terrorist.
Exactly, a domestic terrorist.
And then they said that Jonathan Ross, the guy who shot her, actually was suffering from internal bleeding.
The kind you can't see?
The one injury you can't see. Come on now, man.
Jonathan Ross took psychic damage.
Yeah. Well, he was scared because he's been dragged by a car or whatever the fuck.
She casted fear, and that's why he couldn't get out of the way.
That's why he had to shoot twice through the side window.
And then call her a fucking bitch afterwards. Yeah, dope.
Yeah. And now he's just, he just happens to have completely fucking fallen off the face of the earth.
And now the IDF is investigating itself to figure out if it did anything wrong, and we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, no, you just can't believe anything the government says, man.
No, 100% unreliable.
Yeah.
And you would expect the people who during the Biden years were telling you can never believe or trust the government to not trust the government. But it turns out when it's like their version of the government in power, they trust everything they say uncritically,
Face
even
value.
when they are lying on video.
And like, I'm the kind of guy, even during a Democratic administration, where it's like, okay, we should question what the government is saying.
Yeah.
You should always be skeptical of what your government is telling you. But I cannot believe a single thing they tell me.
Yeah.
And like, I will not take anything at face value. If they say something, I'm going to believe the opposite. Because these fuckers just lie all the time.
And that's kind of where I am when it comes to like anything this fucking administration comes out with. It's just, you should probably believe the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's almost just true 100% of the time, man. These people suck and ICE needs to go away. So where does that lead us into this funding battle, right? Early this morning, Thursday, January 22nd, the 2026 DHS funding bill made it out of the House Rules Committee and is now heading to the floor for consideration. I will say, by the time that you are listening to this episode, it's possible that it's been voted on. I think it's either being voted on right now as we're recording, or it's going to be voted on later today. That's what the speculation was. So DHS, mark my words, will be funded by the time you listen to this episode, or by the time that the general public listens to this episode if you're not on the Patreon.
They are not shutting the agency down.
They are not shutting the agency down. Everyone wants to avoid a government shutdown for some fucking reason.
Yeah, well, but like they've already like funded the government piecemeal. Like there wouldn't be a full shutdown.
There'd only be a partial shutdown of DHS, which is TSA and whatnot, but it's like you guys can literally like make up the rules for how this stuff wants to work. You can say I'm funding everything but ICE. I'm funding TSA and not anything else.
Yeah, I guess
I think you can just do that. I don't know if that's like actually true or whatnot, but like I want a bit. I just like want something.
I want something, and like I get it. Democrats don't have a ton of power right now. They are the minority party in both chambers. It's not like they can really like hold, especially in the House. They can't hold anything up. Republicans can pass whatever they want without Democratic support. So I understand they're sort of powerless in this moment. And before we even get into the numbers, like I want some like rhetorical sauce, man.
Yes.
Nobody, like very few people are getting out here and saying like this organization needs to go completely. It's motherfuckers like Cory Booker saying like, yeah, we need body cameras. And he got it.
And that's a big point for this episode. He got the fucking body cameras. But obviously, so ICE funding is the major sticking point. We all know this within the funding bill. So in the current version of the bill, what did Democrats get in the negotiations process to stop masked ICE agents from running through the seats and beating and in some cases killing people? What do you think they got? Dear listener, how do you think the Democrats use their leverage? I know they don't have much leverage, but how do you think they use it to get meaningful concessions out of this? Don't count on any.
Don't count on any. Our Democrats.
My Democrats, nothing.
These Democrats.
Here's what's in the DHS funding bill, or at least the highlights as of the time of this recording on Thursday, fucking January 22nd at like 3 o'clock. So there's a $115 million reduction in funding for ICE enforcement and removal operations.
Chump change.
It's
unfortunately chump change. ICE's budget is like $30 billion now.
Yeah.
So $150 million is just nothing.
It's just nothing. It's a drop in the fucking budget. Yeah. It's just so that people can go and say, look, we reduced the budget a little bit. Yeah. Look, you guys got ICE defunded. Okay, isn't that great? And important to note, this isn't money that's being taken away from ICE as an organization. This is money that's just being taken away from enforcement and removal operations.
Oh, so they still get it.
So they still get it. They're just going to take that money and give it to the social media teams that are following them around. They're just going to take that money and pay Benny Johnson to go on another raid with Kristi Noem and say, guys, look, we're getting the worst of the worst out of here.
Yeah, the problem with all of this is that like ICE and CBP, DHS as a whole has like infinite money at this point because of the One Big Beautiful Bill and because of the budget that passed before that. And it's like, there's just nothing like, it's just such little amounts of money they're clawing back or even just moving around in the budget.
Yeah. And it's like, to be fair, like Democrats don't have really any, I don't want to say they don't have any power, right? Because DHS doesn't get funded unless 7 people in the Senate break with the Democrats and vote with the Republicans.
Yeah, that's where the
to
power's
pass
at.
the funding bill. So the Republicans do have to negotiate. You know what? Fuck it. The Republicans have to negotiate with you.
Yeah.
You need to get more than just this. Like frankly, you need to get more than just moving money around within the agency that is ICE, right? But that's not where it ends. There are some other concessions.
Yeah.
I don't want to say meaningful, but there are other concessions. The next one, there's a decrease of 5,500 ICE detention beds.
Oh, Geo Group's pissed.
What?
That's one prison.
The prison in Baldwin pissed right now. They're shivering their butts. It's ridiculous. And it's like, what is this gonna like actually do? Like genuinely, I'm sorry. What is reducing the detention beds gonna do when we know that they were shoving people in facilities like Alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah.
They're packing people into these cages like fucking sardines.
Yeah, no, I just like it doesn't matter. Like I think ICE as of like November of last year, the stat was like they're holding 65,000 people.
And it's
like even
well,
if they do hold proportionally like 5,000 people less, it's like that's still a bunch of like people who have committed no crime.
and it's also like, what happens when they just speed up getting them out?
Yeah.
What happens when they just speed up deporting them and getting them out of the detention facility?
Well, and
like none of this is meaningful.
Importantly, it does nothing to stop what they're doing in Minneapolis right now, or the kind of actions that they're doing in Minneapolis, because they're still going to ride around, scoop up citizens and immigrants alike, and beat the shit out of protesters.
Yes.
Like changing the amount of detention beds they have does nothing to stop the abuses of this fucking paramilitary organization.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop them from trying to detain as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Like, that's just never been a thing. They have never been concerned about the number of detention beds that they have. I'll just say that right now. When they passed the Lake and Riley Act earlier last year during Trump, like, the first thing
When
that
Alyssa
Trump passed,
Slotkin voted for the Lake and Riley Act.
When Alyssa Slotkin, my senator,
Yes.
my Democrat, voted for the Lake and Riley Act, she made it easier for the government to grab any illegal immigrant who had been accused of a crime and put them in ICE detention. Not convicted, accused of a crime and put
we're
them in there.
so far past that, dude.
Nobody gives a shit about how many detention beds we have. This is a platitude.
Yes.
Frankly, I don't see how this does anything better. Frankly, maybe more beds would be better because people would be less crowded. Obviously, I don't want that. But like, if we're speaking to the extent that this matters when we're looking at the scope of what ICE is doing, I don't think it does. I don't think it's
and it's just
enough.
like they under the One Big Beautiful Bill, like they expanded detention so much that again, this just doesn't like it's not even going to register.
And it's also like they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah,
They're not.
Well, yeah,
they're
that's
just,
the big
They're
thing.
just gonna go buy more. Like there's no doubt in my mind that whatever like earmarks that you have in this budget bill, whatever you say that we're providing this funding for X amount of bills, they're just not going to fucking listen to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe that's ignorant for me to say. Maybe they do have to listen to them, but they have never been held accountable for anything that they've done in any other circumstance.
Right.
So why would you be able to hold them to account now? They've been moving money around all the time to anything that they want. Why would they stop doing it now that you passed a budget? Then actually they got their budget. They got fiscal year 2026 on lock. They can just go.
Well, ICE is funded for 4 years. All of DHS, the One Big Beautiful Bill funds them. I think DHS got like $170 billion over 4 years.
Fucking crazy.
And that's, of course, divided among like ICE and CBP and all the other agencies within DHS itself. But like, yeah, they're good for a while. There's just nothing you can do unless there's a bill to specifically claw back that funding.
Yeah.
Which my Democrats
will not do that.
My Democrats would sooner give them more money. And it's not crazy to say that.
And it's not ridiculous to say that. Speaking of Border Patrol, there was a $1.8 billion cut in Border Patrol funding. Fucking whatever. That's not been what's in contention right now. I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something there, but get rid of ICE.
Border Patrol is also like with ICE on the ground in Minneapolis, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's like BORTAC, right?
Yeah, Border Patrol's been like with ICE, like when they're not even like close to the border whatsoever. So it hasn't made a ton of sense. But like in the One Big Beautiful Bill, Border Patrol got $18.2 billion over 4 years, earmarked for Border Patrol specifically. The other $47 billion was earmarked for the border wall. So like they're good. So like $1 billion just doesn't matter.
So you're clawing back like 10% of their budget?
I don't think they're clawing it back. It seems to be cut from like the fiscal year budget. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act is like separate spending that's been allocated.
Oh, so it's you can't spend that money this year, but fucking go crazy next year.
Yeah, you still got all your money to do whatever you want.
That's true. The money is still allocated.
Yeah.
That's like part of this, like, and that's where it's like, okay, there is sympathy to the Democrats considering they don't have much to like work with here, but it's like, fuck, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we need we need people to get out here and like make the case against ICE. But because Democrats feel the need to do this like law and order rhetoric, they can't make a forceful case against a paramilitary organization in the streets scooping people up.
Well, and I need them to recognize that they fucked up in June. Like they fucked up when they passed the Big Beautiful Bill. They fucked up when they allowed this to happen. If they don't like, because it's like part of this.
Well, I think that was passed through reconciliation, wasn't it? 50 votes.
Was it?
I don't think Democrats could have stopped the budget back in
That's
March,
right. That's what
the
there was so much fucking shit that happened.
Bullshit, man.
That I'm mixing up my things. You're right. There was a separate budget that they could have shut down, and if they would, because there was something they could have shut things down, it would have stopped the Big Beautiful Bill from passing. But you're right. That was passed through budget reconciliation. Man, everything sucks so bad.
Everything does suck so bad.
Everything sucks so bad. They should just make the case.
They have to get out, and they just like they can't at this point because Biden conceded his 4 years in office using Trump Trump era policies, essentially doing the same shit, also deporting, but not like obviously not as brazen, but treating immigrants as like a threat. And then the right wing builds upon that with their mass deportation plans. And at this point, nobody's saying like, well, maybe immigrants aren't a dangerous threat to this country. So you can't reframe it in any way. That's why we argue for like embracing abolish ICE, because abolish ICE pushes back on this narrative that like immigrants are dangerous and need to be met with literal military force from ICE.
There's just like so many places where they could have done something to stop this from happening they didn't do. There's so many things that are just piling on to make this so much worse. And it's like their power. Yeah, yes, they do have like very limited power, like here and right now, but it's kind of because they did it to themselves.
Well, yeah, they weren't powerless before, right? Like back in 2021 through 2023 until Republicans won back the House. Democrats were still capitulating on immigration for no fucking reason.
Yep.
And then Biden, of course, unveils the fucking conservative border bill, thinks he's going to get a slam dunk, and then he looks stupid.
And then he looks stupid in the Trump one. Oh, mass deportations now at the RNC. It's fucking crazy. Another thing that this bill does, they say it allegedly strengthens oversight of ICE through the Office of the Inspector General and Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties.
Okay.
No, that's just bullshit. There's no fucking possible way you can get me to believe any of that.
Yeah.
Show me one ICE agent that's been held to account for anything.
I'd be surprised if the Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties even has any staffing.
Didn't they close offices? Like,
well, that's woke.
Like,
it's woke.
It's woke. It's fake and gay. Like, I'm pretty sure that they like those offices lost significant portions of funding and had to close down at least a significant portion of them during Doge.
Well, I mean, civil rights are sort of standing in the way of mass deportation. So
this is true.
And of course, we got to save this country from the invasion of people looking for a better life.
Exactly. And it's like without like actual like rules laid out and without actual examples of like, I don't know, locking up an ICE agent that does bullshit, I'm never going to believe that there's any strength and oversight. No. But
well, JD Vance keeps saying they have absolute immunity.
Exactly.
Like, what would oversight even look like?
Exactly.
What did it even mean?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
None of this fucking matters. It's all the IDF investigating itself.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And that's the other thing is like, yeah, sure, get out here and say abolish ICE. If they're not brave enough to do that, I don't think many of them are. At the very least, say like, yeah, we're going to lock these guys up once we get power.
Yeah.
And like, you would be justified in saying that because these dudes are brazenly breaking the law.
And it's like, why not like run people in primaries and like safe blue districts that are going to do that?
Yeah.
Like if you want to be Ken Martin, if you want to get your DNC strategy brain out, there's a lot of safe blue districts out there throughout the country that have fucking dinosaurs sitting in them that are up for re-election for the House, like up for re-election every 2 years. They have no threat of losing to a Republican, and they have no primary challengers. Why not run some people that are saying fucking get rid of ICE, lock up every Border Patrol agent ever?
Yeah, well, but I mean that was like David Hogg's strategy,
and Ken Martin said no. Yeah. Exactly, it's all fucked up. These people don't want to win. These people don't want to do anything that could challenge anything really. They just want to do nothing and win, like China's doing right now. Except China's working.
No, they're actively complicit in this bullshit, especially on immigration. Like they fumbled the ball. They didn't even fumble it. They just fucking threw it down and gave up on the issue of immigration. And that sucks, man, because people have died at this point, not just like directly at the hands of ICE with Renee Nicole Good and the other people that were like shot and killed last year, but like I think like something like 6 people have died in U.S. custody so far this year.
Jesus,
like
we're like 3 weeks into this year.
I know. At this rate, we're gonna outpace like every year for ICE detention in terms of like deadliness.
Oh my god!
Like it's just I don't know, man. Democrats fucked up.
Yeah, and ICE once again notoriously like not a very like happy place. Like ICE detention, not a famously good thing. ICE has been steeped in controversy forever. It's not new that people want to get rid of ICE. Like it's just frankly not. But the last thing I want to highlight that people are touting as like a concession from Republicans, a win for Democrats in this bill, is that based on earlier reporting, the bill also includes new restrictions on DHS's ability to allocate funds if it does not comply with reporting requirements, along with new training requirements for officers and $20 million for body cameras for immigration enforcement agents.
Dude, Cory Booker's going to be so fucking annoying about this.
$20 million for ICE body cams is perhaps the biggest waste of money that I've ever seen in my entire life.
They got their iPhones on them, man. They're content farming.
Exactly. Body cameras don't matter when these people proudly go out there and film their crimes. Need I remind you, Jonathan Ross, when he shot Renee Good, was filming with his iPhone in one hand when he had his gun in the other.
Yeah.
He filmed throughout the duration of these things. These people love the camera. These people are damn near reality TV stars with how they will do anything while the cameras are rolling and not feel any shame for it.
It's just like if there's no accountability, we know this from like putting body cameras on police. If there's no accountability, then it doesn't matter if you captured what they did on camera.
Exactly.
And especially when Stephen Miller is telling them to go out there and like, hey, get all the clips you can.
No, literally.
It just doesn't matter.
Like ICE agents are constantly being filmed either by themselves or by people around them. And it hasn't done anything to stop them from shooting a priest, shooting a woman dead, shooting a priest with pepper balls, permanently blinding a guy in one eye, throwing tear gas into a car with 6 children, arresting a goddamn 5-year-old in Minneapolis. None of the cameras have stopped any of them from doing anything. So why would the cameras matter when they're on their body?
Yeah.
This is a fucking waste of money. Like, I'm sorry, that's just what it is. Cameras are not a sufficient tool to hold ICE agents accountable. The threat is so much greater than that.
You think Cory Booker's got stocks in like a body camera company?
He's got to, right?
It's got to be what it is,
It's got to be something like that. It's like this is like a win for people. Democrats constantly want to put Band-Aids on bullet wounds and then go in front of you and tell you that they just gave you the world. That's all they do. That's all people like Cory Booker have been fucking doing for the last whatever years.
Yeah.
They don't want to take on any fights. They just want to put forth these measures where they spend $1 trillion on bullshit and then tell you that it's going to fix everything. And then we're going to see that it fixes nothing. Instead, Stephen Miller's just going to have cooler footage to cut up and post on the White House social media accounts.
And then we got to deal with their ideological champions like fucking Third Way or the Searchlight Institute or Ezra Miller coming out and saying like, ask for less.
And perhaps that's the worst of this all.
Yeah.
Is that people like Third Way are going to be emboldened. And I can't stand that.
They get out here and say like a good world actually isn't possible.
Every time I read a Third Way memo or article, it takes a year off my life, man. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I open it up because I need to tap in. I need to know what to disseminate to the people that listen to this show. I need to be a tertiary news source about it. I don't want you to take years off your life reading it. I'm like Aki taking the goddamn curse out. It's halving my lifespan every time it's happening, brother. It's fucked up, but it's like, our body cam something? Sure. Like, there's something. They can hold people accountable in, like, some normal instances, right? But we need to demand so much more right now than just something. Even if it feels unfeasible for it to happen. Even if abolish ICE feels unfeasible, it needs to be demanded because you need to lay the groundwork for more things to happen in the future.
Yeah.
That's just how you negotiate. I'm reminded of the UAW strike a couple years ago. Everybody was focusing on how workers wanted, like, what, a 60% raise?
Yeah.
Of course they weren't going to get a 60% raise. You set the bar high so that you can land somewhere in the middle. And I'm not saying that I'll be satisfied when ICE isn't abolished and they settle somewhere in the middle. I want ICE to be abolished, but at the very least, nothing better than just body cams can happen unless I'm out here screaming that we should abolish ICE.
Well, it's just like the Democrats for so long have just lacked a project. Like, Trump obviously is all over the place. He's mentally deteriorating, but at the very least, he is incredibly consistent when it comes to messaging on a policy like immigration. He constantly talks about how dangerous immigrants are, and he constantly talks about how the solution is mass deportations. And he built up consent for that project years and years and years ahead of time before the RNC had mass deportation now signs. Yeah. And then once they got to that point, and because Democrats were so fucking weak in response, that's the solution that people gravitated towards.
Yeah.
Democrats are like incapable of doing that.
It's fucking insane.
They just want to fiddle with the knobs, man.
Bro, Democrats win when they have something to be woke about.
Yeah.
And it's right there in front of you. Just like the 2020 woke off, you've got something right here. We can have a new woke off. We can be woke 2.0. We can be woke but better.
You know,
we can win bigly off it.
We could do woke too, but instead they're going to tell us like we have to accept Gavin Newsom.
Oh my God.
Like, you might not like him. He might not want to tax the rich. He might not be in favor of abolishing ICE. He might not be in favor of doing anything good, but you have to accept him because he did better than JD Vance or whoever the fuck's going to be the candidate.
And that's going to suck so bad.
Oh my God.
And that's going to suck so bad, and it's going to hurt me bad. And again,
I don't think I can do it, man.
No,
I don't think I can do it.
It's going to be really hard. The 2028 election cycle, man, I feel like I'm going to be eaten during the primaries. It's going to be the time of my life making fun of all these people. And then as soon as that nominee is announced, it's like Yuji and Shibuya.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm clawing the ground like, what did I do? What happened? Should I have done better to stop us from getting here?
Like, I'm always going to believe that, like, harm reduction voting in the cases of general elections is, like, the thing that you got to do. But when Democrats are consistently, especially Democrats like Newsom, are so consistently actively complicit in all of the harm that's happening, it makes it like damn near impossible to be like, vote for this guy.
Because it's
like, what am I supposed to do, man?
It's like at that point you ask, what harm am I reducing? And it's like, if you've watched the show for a long time, you know that I know that there is harm being reduced. But like, you're not making me feel good to vote for you. I shouldn't, like, even when I'm harm reduction voting, I shouldn't feel bad going out and casting my ballot for Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, well, because like you said, it doesn't feel like the harm's being reduced.
Exactly.
Because these people, just one thing leads to another, and then we get another fucking guy like Donald Trump because we have a milquetoast Democrat in.
Yeah.
That doesn't fundamentally change anything for the better.
Yes. And it's just like, once again, like body cameras, like I don't think body cams are a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think it's debatable how much they keep police accountable, but I think body cams have been a step forward in fixing like the institution of policing. Yeah. They are used as evidence to persecute officers. They stop people from doing things they would have done, but the scale of what ICE is doing, the scale of the threat that ICE is so much greater than normal accountability measures that in some cases are debatable if they even work in the first place. The whole agency just needs to be gotten rid of.
Yeah.
And it's like,
gotta be gutted, man.
It's like a significant portion of what ICE does is centered around going viral on social media on videos from the field. Why do you think giving them more cameras is going to help this?
Yeah.
Just why? And ICE is ran like an influencer operation. And I want to read you an excerpt from this Washington Post article that's about just that.
Okay.
Quote, "The team began working like a professional influencer operation, creating a social media checklist of caught-on-camera arrests, sharing metrics with senior officials, using paid social media tracking tools, and cataloging all of their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Threads, and X posts ranked by impressions and engagement rate."
These motherfuckers are looking at analytics.
We don't even do that.
No.
We don't even look at our posts and compare them and bust them out in a spreadsheet. Like, ICE is running literally like an influencer operation. There are teams of people at DHS and ICE that are running around with agents that are getting footage from agents and trying to figure out how to make it the most viral. Part of this article details how they're carefully picking words, or how in one case a deportation flight pictured too many women, so they recut the B-roll to only show men, so they can post it on social media and make people think that they're just getting out the worst of the worst. This is all engineered to do social media likes. They're doing this shit for aesthetics once again, and that's all there is, and it makes me fucking crazy trying to think any deeper than that. But I'm constantly told by the people themselves, by leakers, by what gets leaked, that these people just want to make it look cool to do harm to others.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, it's just like the height of absurdity for them to be looking at their analytics and comparing different videos and trying different editing styles to see what goes the most viral when they're making like a deportation ASMR video.
Yes.
Like it's like what the
like what are we doing? You're the government.
What am I left to say, man?
You're supposed to be the government doing like apolitical law enforcement.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck is happening? And as bad as the law enforcement that you're doing is, it's even worse that you're clout farming on social media because of it. Aside from just like the wannabe influencer bullshit that like DHS and like ICE agents or officers or people who work at ICE are doing, they're also collaborating with real influencers on these ICE operations. Another excerpt, quote, "Right-wing influencers with large followings, including Dr. Phil McGraw and Libs of TikTok's Chaya Rydcheck, were regularly invited to ride along with law enforcement agents and interview senior officials, according to the Post review of their coverage. The pro-Trump influencer Benny Johnson donned a Border Patrol tactical vest to watch a raid at a Walmart in a Chicago area alongside Homeland Security Secretary Kristi L. Noem. His X clip celebrating the, quote, amazing operations, wild scenes, had been viewed 1.6 million times. In pursuit of more viral video, DHS brought in new public affairs staff members with atypical backgrounds and authorized them to, quote, go out and capture content, as a chat message said. A MAGA woman lifestyle influencer, an LA-based wedding videographer, and a Canadian-born actor who played a mountain man in a cable TV show joined the team.
Oh my God, dude. These people, there is a special place in hell for these motherfuckers.
Absolutely, dude.
Jesus
The
Christ.
last bit that I have from this article, quote, DHS encouraged the hires to become intimately involved with agency affairs. These are influencers. These are the influencers I just talked about. The LA-based wedding videographer, the woman's health influencer,
Benny
the goddamn
Johnson,
mountain man.
famously
Benny
straight
Johnson.
influencer.
Huge. Big on that.
Very
Huge.
straight. It's true. It's true.
Number one truth podcast.
He's never committed plagiarism.
DHS encouraged these hires to become intimately involved with agency affairs. The chats and interviews showed in June when ICE agents were raiding farms in rural Missouri, the former actor noted it would be a prime chance to make a video. Would be great to get something like that on film, he wrote in the chats, suggesting a tagline, quote, we are everywhere and we will find you. These people ICE agents love being on camera. Body cameras are not going to help in ways that are meaningful. It is not a significant reform. And I do not want to hear anyone go out there and claim that it is. Because if you watch what's happening out there with every enforcement operation, they are not stopping themselves. Nothing can stop them unless there's something that comes and says, no more ICE.
Yeah, but did it say in those articles how much they're getting paid?
No, like the influencers,
yeah,
at least
the influencers.
What I was looking at, I wasn't paying attention. I was just mostly floored by those things. I didn't see how much they were getting paid.
Yeah, they've created like an industrial complex for making the most racist video imaginable.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Christ,
that's what
man.
it is. And it's like they're paying influencers to do this. And then they have their own in-house teams that are literally just social media managers for the Nazi White House accounts.
Yeah.
That's it. Just posting Nazi edits.
Yeah, no, just make Nazi propaganda for us to make us look legitimate. And it's not working. Like,
no,
it's not building more support. Trump's deportation operation and how they handle immigrants is becoming more and more unfavorable to the public. But it's insane to see that, like, they're bringing on motherfuckers like Benny Johnson to make sick edits of them putting brown people on a plane.
Benny Johnson, famously the most masculine guy.
The most masculine straight guy with a normal straight, typical traditional family.
They're just trying to capture their audience. They're trying to get the, it's just like, it's the fucking Hunger Games, dog.
You know, we often say that JD Vance does nothing. I think this might be his operation.
You think so? You think he's like secretly like running the influencer bullshit?
Well, because like once a week, people are like, turns out JD Vance follows Nazi Groyper 14, whatever.
True, but oh man, and you think he's just going around recruiting Nazi Groyper 1488 to like come on the team and be like, hey, make this edit?
Well, because he's mutuals with all these guys.
Maybe he's just going around and being like, oh, Elon Musk retweeted you. You must be one of us.
Yeah. Well, and that's why like JD Vance is always like trying to play peacemaker when it comes to like Nick Fuentes and the people who aren't Nazis, I guess, in the Republican Party. Very few of them left nowadays. But like he's always like when he was at I think it was CPAC recently that happened.
Okay.
Or some recent event. And Ben Shapiro came out and said like, hey, we shouldn't platform Nazis. And then Tucker Carlson came out and was like, well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, we should.
And then JD Vance was like, I think we're a Big Ten. And it's like, you're a cornball, first of all. You're never not going to be a cornball. But this is the kind of shit he does, man.
JD Vance's number one door.
JD Vance's number one strategy is to never be outflanked from the right, because that is how he would lose a primary.
Yeah.
And that requires him to bring in motherfuckers like this and do media ops like this. So I think this might be his handiwork.
That's awesome. That would be kind of fun.
Well, he's not doing anything else.
That's true. Yeah, he's not working for, once again, vice president, famously fake job.
Fake job.
Famously
Fake job. And this is a fake thing to do.
And this is a fake thing to do. Make like edits for like the Nazi White House accounts now. Fucking ridiculous, man. But it's like with the DHS Funding bill, like I said off the top, it's being voted on probably right now. Expect it to pass and expect moderate Democrats to vote yes on it. So far, I'm not kidding. Hakeem Jeffries has come out and said that he won't be voting for it, but I'm not sure whether or not votes are actively being whipped. I don't think there's like a concerted effort with the party to get everybody in the same line, because I think they are concerned about Democrats in swing districts being like caught not being pro law enforcement, even though they literally just shot somebody.
Come on, brother. If you vote yes on this, you're just signing on to everything they're doing.
Yeah.
Like that is far worse than like maybe being critical of law enforcement. Like the logic is like you can never criticize law enforcement.
Yep. No, that's what it is, because like you can't. You just can't. Do you remember that like senator from Connecticut? Like we talked about it. Maybe it was a year ago. Maybe it was right before the election. I think she was like at a debate and she's like, I put out forward a bill to fund the police like way more.
Oh my
like
God,
that's how these fuckers are.
Yeah.
Like that's how they are. They think that the left has slogans that get them in trouble, and in reality, they look weak because they just are constantly fighting themselves about whether or not they should say a slogan,
you know what?
Instead of actually doing goddamn policy.
Our Michigan state legislators did that too, because there was this bill that the Republican Party here in Michigan advanced, and it cut a bunch of funding for a bunch of stuff. And like one of the main things I heard were our state Democrats saying the Republicans defunded the police.
Yeah, like dog.
Brother, shut up. It doesn't work the other way.
That's just like saying we tried to pass a bipartisan immigration bill and Republicans said no. Motherfucker, you're playing a different game.
Yeah.
You're playing with the controller unplugged and they're running away with the lead. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. The real fight's going to take place in the Senate, where again 7 Democrats will consequentially need to flip party lines. So yeah, John Fetterman's already won.
Yep.
So we need 6 more Democrats to flip. Yep. Angus King's probably going to flip. Maggie Hassan's probably going to flip. Who are the people that flipped on healthcare? Count them out already.
All 8 of them, yeah.
So really, I would just consider this bill passed. I think people got...
I agree.
I think body cams are enough for moderate Democrats to go and say, look, reform's happening. And then somebody else is going to get shot in a month or two or whatever. ICE is going to kill another fucking person.
In 4K this time.
In 4K this time with a new and improved $20 million body camera. And we're going to have to watch it a billion times on Twitter. And people are going to talk about it. And people are going to say, oh, geez, I wish we could do something about it. And we're going to have to look at this as being yet another piece on the pile of Democrats digging themselves a hole they can't get out of.
Yeah, no, I mean, you referenced it a little bit earlier, but like that car they flashbanged or tear gassed or whatever, they almost killed a kid.
Yeah.
Like the kid was resuscitated at the hospital, but like the kid was not breathing after they tear gassed a fucking car, like a family in a car coming home from a goddamn basketball game.
Like, that's crazy. Like, the agent that did that should be in jail forever.
Immediately
Like, in jail forever.
And the supervisors that like allowed that to happen immediately should at the very least lose their job.
Yeah.
But in this world, my Democrats are going to act like a meaningful concession, something that will make anything better, is putting cameras on their chests.
And man, just because Gavin Newsom and like 2028's on my mind right now. I was thinking about this earlier. It's like, I was thinking about Merrick Garland and how he failed to literally do anything that would matter.
He never went to work.
He didn't persecute anybody. Like he was so scared of seeming like political that he wouldn't persecute a Republican for anything. I feel like we're going to end up back there in 2028. I feel like we're going to have the Democrat who becomes a nominee, or we're going to see a primary race where Democrats are like, we need to go back to normal. We need to return to normalcy. I'm so sick of the polarization that's going on. All this tribalism, all these political team sports, we need to get back to, and you could have a conversation with your Republican family. I'm not going to persecute any ICE agents.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, and that's why like so many issues that we have today are just traceable to like shit that either Biden or Obama did.
Or fucking like if you think like ICE agents are going to be held accountable for tearing this fucking country apart, look at the fucking Civil War.
Yeah.
We couldn't even punish the Confederacy.
Yeah.
We gave them all amnesty, and that's part of why we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
Robert E. Lee has fucking statues.
Unfortunately, everything does go back to Reconstruction being a fucking failure.
Like, I feel like it genuinely
we just
does.
need
like,
Reconstruction too.
We're a country that fundamentally failed literal terrorists and seditionists and traitors for terrorizing the country and trying to leave. We had a civil war where we failed to punish the other side because we thought we needed to grant them amnesty to stop further tearing the country apart. And we've kind of been torn apart ever since. I've said it a couple episodes ago, but I really don't believe there ever was a time where it's like you could have respectful disagreements with people, because people used to literally believe that black people were nothing, like subhuman. People, there's the picture of the goddamn motel owner pouring acid in the fucking pool where black people are swimming. Yeah. That's what politics used to be. Don't ever tell me we need to go back to a time where things were more normal, because where people weren't cutting off family maybe back then, they were just going out and lynching people.
Yeah, well, I mean, Joe Biden, who was like the normalcy guy, gave a eulogy for Strom Thurmond.
Yes.
Like, this politics has always been fucking violence and brutality, man.
Always been bullshit. And we're finally getting to a place where it's like history, like the trend has been, we've stopped like actually allowing people to go out and like do vigilantism and murder minorities and beat the shit out of them and get away with like just killing people and doing physical violence, and we've traded that for cutting off your family member, and we're acting like cutting off a family member and not showing up to Thanksgiving is worse than the alternative.
Exactly.
Are you fucking serious? Like, I don't believe in that. I would love to get to a place where I can have like regular disagreements with Republicans about how housing policy should happen, but we're not going to be there because these motherfuckers are racist Nazis.
Yeah, well, and they think that like immigrants invaded the country and that there's 20 million of them here plotting on our downfall or stealing all the welfare and also not working very hard.
Exactly.
Like we don't live in a shared reality
like
anymore.
It's hard. It's agonizing to fucking deal with. And that's where like our elected officials are.
And that's why we hate on Democrats so much, because like Republicans could not have gotten to this point on immigration without concessions from people like Joe Biden.
Yes.
It's the only way they could build up consensus, because Democrats conceded on the premise that like immigrants are indeed a threat that must be met with a militarized border. That's what the fucking conservative border bill was.
And it's also like, fuck, when we ended slavery, we gave reparations to the slaveholders.
Yeah.
Like we gave them reparations. We didn't pay the actual former slaves anything. They didn't get anything. They just got new slavery 2.0 sharecropping.
They did not get 40 acres and a mule.
They did not get that. Again, they got slavery 2.0.
Yeah.
Like it's all been ridiculous. The history of this country seems like it's a history of us constantly just forgiving the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then letting them do more bad things in a different way.
They low-key like did the same shit in Nazi Germany too. too.
Yeah.
Like they went on a campaign. I was watching some stuff about it earlier, but like they went on a campaign to essentially say like, hey, look at all the horrors of the Holocaust, and it ended up like increasing support for what happened.
Oh my God.
Because they were so thoroughly propagandized to, and they had to cut off that campaign because it just like wasn't working. And of course there was like the Nuremberg trials, which is like the one time where international law held people accountable, and then never again. Well, except for like sometimes like African warlords will actually have to face tribunals and stuff. But other than that,
that's so different.
Nobody else ever faces any accountability. But like beyond that, they kind of all just got to chill afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, except for like the top ranking guys.
Like once you get like law like is fake. Like the law is fake. The law is enforced by people who like control its enforcement and have to hold themselves accountable. And it's like once you get to a certain level of like being bad and evil, law just doesn't matter and you'll never be held accountable for anything. You'll probably get like, I don't know, a speaking deal. Man, you'll probably get $50,000 to come speak at like some event.
Yeah, if that ain't the history of all civilization, man.
Like, fuck.
The law just does not apply to you once you get powerful enough, man. It sucks.
It sucks bigly.
Yeah. We don't live in a just world, but that is the end of this horrible monstrosity of an episode. Lots of bad things happening all around.
Yeah, I love the world order. I guess whatever's left of it by the time this episode airs. Shout out ICE.
Yeah, everyone keeps talking about like next Democrat that comes in, they can clean house, they can throw people in jail, they can make all these changes.
Wish.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Especially if it's fucking Gavin Newsom, man. Gavin Newsom's not doing shit. Gavin Newsom's going to give Trump a pardon. I guarantee it.
I promise you, we're going to get Super Merrick Garland as the Attorney General, and we're going to get, I don't even want to say Super Joe Biden. Everyone's going to be Merrick Garland.
Everyone's Biden, everyone's Garland.
It's going to be the Garlandization of the government in that nobody wants to do anything. Nobody wants to address the goddamn festering mold growth that's in the corner. That is the Nazis in the Republican Party that have gained prominence, and they're just going to let them pass them by, and then in 2032 or in 2036, we're going to get a Nazi president.
Yeah, it's going to, look, it's one Biden after another. The stream of Bidens is never going to end. Yep. Gavin Newsom's going to come in as president in fucking 2028. He's going to leave the ballroom up. He's going to increase ICE's funding. It's not going to change, man. These Democrats need to be forcibly changed. Well, 'cause they will not do it on their own.
That's the other thing I was thinking about this morning too. It's like thinking about like ICE, thinking about like Democrats and how Democrats would do things, and thinking about what happens when like the norms have been broken and somebody previous to you getting power has done something like crazy that no one should ever get away with. Yeah. When Trump did all the bullshit immigration things that Democrats claim to like rally against, Joe Biden came in and he did the same things quieter.
Yeah, he did the same things quieter.
Because Trump laid the groundwork.
Yeah.
Trump already took like the heat for doing those things, so Biden just did them less violent and more liberally. Yeah. I would not be surprised if President Newsom comes in and he sees all the bullshit that happens, because I was thinking about tariffs, because I had to pay a wicked tariff bill earlier for some collectibles I purchased. Because, really everything is personal grievance. I'm a victim of it as well. Like, I'll do it. I had to pay a wicked tariff bill this morning.
I think the tariffs are the one thing that like would go away, because corporations would ask Gavin Newsom to make
that
them
makes
go
sense.
away.
But I was thinking about it, and I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Democrats like, because I was thinking about de minimis, because usually my shit would be covered by de minimis, and that's something Biden was already flirting with getting rid of. And it's like, President Newsom's not going to reinstate de minimis for me. Yeah. President Newsom is going to say, Trump took the heat, we're going to keep this in here, we're going to get this money, and it's going to be the same fucking shit for a lot of ICE stuff, unless somehow we work up a fervor to abolish ICE and make it so that the 2028 candidate can't like run without abolishing ICE. We're gonna get continued Border Patrol funding. I don't think the funding that was like authorized in the One Big Beautiful Bill is gonna be clawed back. If anything, if I'm being cynical about it, it may just be absorbed into DHS's budget and be forever, and ICE will forever be higher funded than some foreign militaries.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying is like Democrats most of them have shown no willingness to adopt any kind of bold stance that would change the paradigm on the immigration debate. Yeah. Especially not Gavin Newsom. I mean, shit, he just did that fucking podcast with Ben Shapiro where he was like, no, I'm totally not for abolishing ICE. In fact, I've been cooperating with ICE lately in California.
He said, you know what, I'll put you in my cabinet. He didn't say that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, like famously Kamala Harris said, I'd put a Republican in my cabinet.
Yeah.
Like, Democrats need to be forcibly pushed on these issues, and that's why a lot of people are saying like abolish ICE has to be the moderate position or the bare minimum when it comes to considerations for 2026 and 2028, and people get mad and say we got to stop the purity test, but it's like, goddamn, man, if we don't do something, if we don't change the paradigm, 4 years after 2028, 8 years after 2028, we will get, like you said, someone who's just a Nazi and will make things infinitely worse, because history, the way history unfolds, is not independent events that just happen because people in power are making decisions. It is based on what happened previously and how sentiments change over time. And if we don't do something to change the direction of this country, then it's just, we're fucked. We're completely fucked.
No, we're gonna get President Gavin Newsom running in 2028. He's like, all these people, all these crazy Democrats are saying abolish ICE. I want more ICE. Just like how people say, actually, I'm not defunding the police. I voted for bigger police budget. We're going to get that shit because Democrats love being snarky to us and appeasing Republicans.
Democrats love Republicans.
They fucking do. Their favorite people are Republicans.
Democrats love Republicans, dude. They love, who can I vote for that hates Republicans? There's nobody.
I'm saying, I never hear, I'm going to put a progressive in my cabinet. It's always fucking, I'm going to put a Republican in my cabinet. Obviously, I'm being facetious. I miss Lena Khan every single day. But you get the point.
But Lena Khan was one of those that got appointed because of like Warren and Sanders working together to like pull, again, like I said, pull Biden's administration, at least in some parts, further to the left. But like for every fucking Lena Khan, there's a Merrick Garland. Like
it's like people think that like people just change on their own. And it's like, this isn't an anti-people can change argument. This is a people, you need like to be a force for change, literally, not to be corny.
But that's why I brought up like the thing about histories, because I feel like a lot of liberals genuinely view historical events as like things that just happen in isolation. Individuals make decisions independent of anything else going on around them. And it's like, no, it's about the interplay of material conditions and fundamentally about what happened before. We are temporally locked. There's nothing we can do about that. And sentiments within the population are based on what people build up over time, the campaigns and policies and agendas and programs, political programs that people advance over time. And if people like Gavin Newsom, a dude like Gavin Newsom, if he wins and does fundamentally nothing differently from Joe Biden, it's gonna happen again. We're gonna be in the same exact spot, but probably worse.
I love a constant tit for tat as we backslide into fascism. I can't even say backslide, like we're there. Like I do think we're kind of like pretty much there right now. We got the League of Supervillains as the Board of Peace. We got fucking whatever, man. It's the disaster curses got together and said, give me $1 billion for more. We got HITO up there. Jesus Christ.
So that's a little rant at the end for you guys. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Let's get the fuck out of here. It's time to give a special thanks to people that are going to help us buy not 1, not 5, not 10, but 12 houses in cash.
And we will still be a small mom and pop's landlord.
We're still going to be mom and pops. Thank you, Scott Besson, my Lord and Savior. Special thanks to Caden Kraut, Chris the Postman, Christy Beck, Mike Czaplinski, Clayton LaFed, Mark Yeager, Caleb Joy, Rich Toro, Tari, Fergalaki, Max Vesquez, Jacob Rogers, Colt Newberry, Fixer Punk, Jim Egbers, Beta Burrito, Cincy Elks, Joe Stenstrom, Adrian Sandoval, Chloe Sam 601, Colleen Cutts, Jennifer DeVoe, Crawfish, Bennington III, Alexia Benatti, Big Booty Beantown, Sam Maloney, Ted Cruz's Boy Toy, Dictator Chase, Luca Shea, Cocker Charleston, Danielle Jackson, The Word of Microsoft, Jennifer Science, Aaron and his Gundam Gundams, Darth Father, Taylor for Content, Corey Chambers, Retro Mata, Veronica, AKAV, Raxon, Ash Smith, the Grotler, Murder in a Trenchcoat, Casey Lynn Kelly, AK Ghana, Guanadon, Zach Lantian, Austin Greif, Marcus Corbett, Caleb Roper, Taylor Rensock, Cami, Tylen Freeman, Isaac Hodges, Madeline C, Anna Valenic, Casey C, Say Yes to West, August, Particular Pickman, Sir Capilot, Jeff Sines, Brenda's Egg, Froggy Gumjock, Jackie Boy, Shameless, Coherent Babbles, MJ Sharp, Michaela Munsley, The Wallace 3000, Christy, Kashan Lala, Amanda R, Tyler J, Particulon, Memfrez, Rondus Little, Midwest Marxist, Drill the Mailman, Gary from West Michigan, Shawnee GG, Juniper Not Jupiter, Stat Crabs, I Crowley, Urban Peach, Lord of Forlorn, Holt Forsyth, Booty Snakes, Dew Fairy, Chelceratops,
Austin Lima, Lane Waltz, Azim Fida Hussein, Gorgeous Girl Mukes, Brooklyn G, Noverk the Dastardly, Goldthorn, Addie Book, Merlin, Cryobongi, Sergeant Pookie, Hoodie, Rose Grimm, Kristen, Jamie the Young Extremist, Jack the Heathen, Archer W, Evan Mingo, AJ Torres, Elo Nikos, Jake Hall, Seth Schmidt, Noah Sajas, Majawat, Ultra the Dragon, Mercy Boku, Dick Cheney and 6-inch Heels, Luke Wechter, Henry Kraggles, Tristan Ringsmith, Yaya, Asura the Atheist, Aiden Reese, Deep State Agent, Puddle Pirate, Southern Lefty, Lark 61, KC, Cannon Man, Troy H, Rourke Muffalo, Nahan San Diego, Nut Mode, Nick from New Haven, Connor Nix, Sound Logic, Sleeven. I have never made a woman orgasm again. I'm just being honest.
Again, guys, I just had to get that in there.
John from Houston, Jordino, Haley Weibold, Pablo Vasquez, Nurse Jen, Soul DJ, Maple Big Dog, CIA Small Creators Fund, Taylor from Burnt Down Minneapolis, Northeast Nick, Aya, Retired AF and SC, YK Coolin, Woofer G, Gayest Worm, Niles Chamberlain, Sugar Free Baja Blast, Blast, Kristen the Leftist Nurse, Fake Airplane, TJ Loves Colleen, Mothman's Gay Lover, Real Jesus Christ, Queerla, Carter Gethin, Blulu 92, 1000 Miniature Horses, Will Grant, Gay for Jeremy, Hail Libertas, this person still didn't tell me how to pronounce their name, Walter von Vogelweide,
Nice.
Rad Dene, Captain Buttby. Shout out Captain Buttby.
Shout out Captain Buttby.
I forgot you were in here.
Shit.
And my mom, thank you all so much for supporting the show on Patreon. Captain Buttby, man, that's a good one. Needed a giggle at the end there.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening.